So I figure we've gone over Incredible Hulk 347 and 348, which is the first and second appearances of Joe Fixit. We've also gone over the Marvel Legends Wolverine 50th edition patch and Joe Fixit 2-pack. It's time to dive into one of my favorite series. This is Wolverine issue 7. This is the team up of Joe Fixit and Patch. This is part 1. Part 2 being the the sought after Wolverine issue 8 cover, where it's just that blue background with them wearing the Casablanca-esque suits leaning on one another. But here's where it starts. Mr. Fixit comes to town. This is Chris Claremont doing the writing, John Buscema artist, Ken Berzenak doing the lettering, Mike Rockovist colorist, Bob Harris editor, and Tom DeFalco, oh god, you guys are gonna make me say this word, consigliere, I can't ever say that word to save my life, so feel free to make fun of me down in the comments. But you get it. I enjoy the humor. This was May 1989. So we come to find out that this character that has invited Joe Fixit to Tahoe, Nevada, should I say, is an associate with ooh, look at that. One of the staples came out. Story of my life. I'm not finding a better copy of this one, but at least I can say I have it. Anyway, he has a relationship with Bern Getty as well and knows that he's a straight shooter, hence why he's asked for the assistance of Joe Fixit to go to Madripoor to help him with the dealings that are kind of going south down there. And this is where we enter the prince's palace in Madripoor. Sometimes life can be a royal crock. We nailed the bad guys. We were about to take care of their boss. And then wham, bam, suddenly the room's full of troops. And the prince himself announcing that this game's a long way from being over. And maybe the good guys won't win after all. This is my country, ladies and gentlemen. My home. Within its boundaries, I decide who lives or dies. If it's the latter, he won't go alone. I'll see to that. The prince may be the ruler of Madripoor, but I'm Wolverine. And I love these early Claremont comics, the Wolverine standalone, because it's just a great team up. We had Shin, not Mirage. I can't remember her new mutant name, but you get the idea. She left the team to kind of keep an eye on her uncle so she could find out where her kidnapped brother and sister are. Lindsay Macabre, she's an actor who essentially started working with Jessica Drew, who is the Avenger, Spider-Woman, and also a private investigator. And then, of course, Tiger, who's trying to carve her way into the Madripoor Underground by opening the Princess Bar. And then Patch kind of has a relationship with everyone here. Now, before Wolverine can act, he comes to find out that the prince knows who Lindsay is. There it is. Lindsay Macabre? Sure. But anyway, she was kind of run through the ringer in the early part of this whole Wolverine arc. But because she's there, the prince kind of takes leniency on everyone. I have long been an admirer of your work, which you might call a fan. And this guy, Coy, are you mad? You have your enemies here in this room at your mercy. Why are you socializing with people you should kill? You have a care, General Coy. At least you find yourselves numbered among them. Captain, consider these my guests. See to their needs when they're presentable. Bring them. This way, sir. Pat, she's got my partner. You want to rescue her, Drew? It'll be messy. And it felt like a very noir comic as we open up with everything that's going on between the Prince of Madripoor, Tiger, General Coy, and Wolverine and his band of misfits in the middle. Now, cut back where Joe Fixit is going to the airport, and these bikers try to rough up his driver, which we can see she can handle herself, but this guy's just not backing down. Which this individual realizes that he's bit off more than he can chew as Joe Fixit exits the car, realizes what's happened to his driver. He goes, "Are you okay, Connie?" "I'm sorry, Joe. I didn't want to bother you. I thought I could handle it." "The car will cost you. The black eye will cost you more." "That sounds like a threat. Our feeling is that you should pay. Leave us your driver, and you get to walk away untouched. Is that a fair deal or what? And you would think, seeing someone just flip all your bikes like that you would back down, hopping X amount of mileage to take you out. But yeah, the guy does not learn his lesson. Now, this armor is interesting. When we get back to Madripoor, it's something that was made for Jessica Drew because something happens to her early on in this series, and Tiger initially started wearing it. Now, Wolverine basically says that you need to cool your wool. Koi's proposition made sense to the prince. It was good business, worth even the sacrifice to his trusted advisor. If the coup could be managed as quick, clean, surgically precise operation, over and done before anyone was the wiser. But Koi botched it. Messy now, and getting out of hand. There's a simple solution. Think, woman, or is all this for nothing? Consider the prince's angle. You won't touch drugs or slaves, two primo lucrative markets that leave a vacuum. If Koi doesn't fill it, someone else will. So Logan's looking at this as the lesser of two evils. So I like that, even though I don't know if this was like a mandated crossover or if it was something that Peter David and Claremont co-opted together, I like that he's still keeping his story on point while also slowly but surely bringing Joe Fixit into the fray. We learn more about Lindsay and her acting career. We learn more about Shin and why she's essentially stuck having to follow her uncle around. And I can't remember, we've gone over the issue of New Mutants. I can't remember which one it was, but she essentially talks about she's leaving with her uncle so she can find her brother and sister. And that's such the tragedy of Shin, because I miss seeing her and Danny in the New Mutants. And Logan says I owe everything to her because she saved my life and all I could do is pay the kid back. And it pains him to see her stuck in the situation. So while she's in Madripoor, he's keeping an eye on her just like he is Drew and Lindsay, because that's the type of person that Logan is. And so they're asking for him to keep an eye on Joe Fixit. And he doesn't quite know who it is yet. And I love how Claremont uses, in this sense, Peter David's humor, where we come to find out that this driver is not exactly the type of driver he's supposed to be, pulls a gun on the dude. He goes, well, in a couple of seconds, you won't have no mouth at all. Definitely no tip. And I just love how it's very Looney Tune, like when Daffy Duck or a Wile E. Coyote would hold a dynamite stick, and the guy's just like, get him! You would think that if a bullet's not going to start someone. Yeah. Anyway, Wolverine takes this as a moment to kind of hop in, help Joe Fixit, which allows Logan to find out why the Hulk is here. But first he says there's only one person I know with the fighting style, the looks, and he may not be green. And he keeps finding out that Joe Fixit keeps saying, you need to get me to the hotel before sunrise because his driver shook up from this fight. So Wolverine offers to drive them. And I love as he breaks into Joe Fixit's apartment after Joe is retired for the evening. He goes, I almost blow the caper by laughing aloud when I see who's on the bed. Not that Wolverine has anything to fear from Robert Bruce Banner. Brucey by day, Hulk by night. No matter he was so paranoid about getting undercover. Sunlight makes Banner boss, and Hulk's never like that. Must use sedatives to keep him asleep till night. And so what I love is how Peter David's basically set up this whole new awesome run of the Hulk and the Incredible run, and then that whole idea just continues to expound here in the pages of Wolverine, and that's why this is one of those timeless, beloved arcs. And I can't wait to dive into issue 8. I got to get it off my wall here in a bit, and we'll go over. But I wanted to set the stage and just show how exciting it was to be a Wolverine and an X-Men fan at this time. And what I loved about this Wolverine run initially was this was during the fall of the mutants. Everyone thought the X-Men did, so Logan could move around more undetected. Like, even Jessica and Lindsay don't realize it's Pat. Shin, I think, is the only one that knows, or one of them knows, but I can't remember. Of course, what's her name? Tiger knows who it is as well. But it felt like you could be more creative and loosey-goosey with this rather than having to confine to everything that was going on in the X-Men books. And that's why I also loved Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. It allowed both of them to be separated from the main arc with everything that was going on during this time to just give you something new and to breathe. And to use known characters without being, again, stuck with the confines of their main titles. Love it. Think about this quite often, and it's just a fun read overall. What do y'all think? If you've enjoyed it, please first and foremost support your local comic shop, wherever it is, like to get your action figures and comics, and grab this, both 7 and 8. It is worth it to have in your collection if you're a Wolverine fan. If you've enjoyed this review, really would appreciate if you taking a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little adamantium bell next, subscribe. That way, as I continue to upload content, you guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, or the socials, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope y'all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.